Ute Indians had as much need for non-sharp kitchen implements as you do in your own kitchen. So you don't have only just knives and forks, but you also have spatulas and other softer implements according to what your need is. And what the Utes used, if they didn't, this is an example of a sharp stone knife that was probably used for cutting sticks and twigs, but if you try to use something like this on a hide, it digs in and tears and cuts. So it might have been used to cut away the fat and all the other gunk on the inside of the hide, but it certainly wasn't used in the same way that these other wooden scrapers were. Also, I would like for you to notice this slab, this little wooden slab here. Ute Indians had something like this that was flat in order for them to do their work. And I'm going to explain to you why I think that's true, and then we'll go through a couple of these tools and show you how they work. These stone tools are the reason that I'm inferring that they made some type of a lap bench. And it's obvious because of the way that the tool is constructed. So this was made to not only shape the wood initially, but to dress it and keep it clean after as it was being used. Some weren't always at a right angle. This one was made obviously for the angle that these two edges describe. Here's an interesting one. I'm not sure what all it does. But they needed some type of a surface to for whatever task they had, and I imagine it could have been. It was probably twice as wide as the tool. So they go from this way, and then they turn around and they could do it from this way. These angular tools are probably the most common that I see along the trails of western Colorado Springs. Before we get off the topic of carpenter's tools too quickly, this is an example of an angular truing tool that I showed you before, but this one's unique because it has a wedge on the other side. So it would be placed against the stock they wanted to split and held with the right hand and then struck on this surface here, probably with a piece of wood or something that wouldn't break the rock. Pretty cool, huh? This first scraping tool I want to show you is quite remarkable. We're going to bring our animal hide up here, and you can see that half of this looks, I don't know, it's a gnarly part of an oak, of a scrub oak, where the root meets the trunk or something, I don't know, but it is exceedingly hard. This part up here has had the bark removed, and it exposes a much more severe surface. I don't know if I can show it on the video, but there are wear marks to show where this has been used. The test for any tool is whether or not it's ergonomic, which this one is easily. So put your thumb goes here. Of course, this is probably at least a couple centuries old, so it's not like new. But the hand fits perfectly for the grip, and then when it's used, it's ergonomic not just for the hand, but also for the shoulder and the arm. So you see the way that this angle is? It's not like American or modern tools go like this. It's ergonomic. This, I don't know, this could be some kind of a something to clean up the work surface too. I don't know. Sometimes it's easier to see the wood grain when it's wet. So I've dunked this in the water so you can get a better idea of. This was a heavily worked tool. I mean, it was used a lot, but it also took a lot of work to create. Okay, let's imagine that we have a hide stretched around this our lap bench here. We need to scrape off all the fat and guck and veins and blood and all the other stuff on the inside. This is a tool that we would pick if we were a Ute, one assumes. You can see not only the tool marks when the tool was created, but also the visible signs of having been used. See how smooth that is. And this was not weathered away, it was left rough like this because that's what they were looking for, something rough to scrape off all the membranes on the inside of the hide. If you don't get the hide nice and clean, it won't preserve, it'll rot. So this was used like this. It's also ergonomic when held this way, and it shows wear patterns here. So this was probably, see the channel in there where all the slime and stuff would collect. And they scoop that out and put it on their pizza for topping. This is a similar type of tool. Again, you see the wear marks. It's ergonomic, it's well used. And again, you've got your stretched hide across here, and this is a very interesting tool. These little holes in here, indentations, I suspect that they may have at one time held little shards of rock. That would have been an aggressive tool, wouldn't it? Let me see, they would be probably not. I don't know what they would need something that aggressive for. And you can see how well used this, how many times this has been drawn back and forth. Again, it's exceedingly perfectly ergonomic. Here's a little teeny weeny scraper. It's obvious that it's been worked on the working surface and that it's been used. And again, it's perfectly ergonomic. And when this one is pushed, it doesn't go, it's not a right angle to the work. If you hold it naturally and ergonomically, it slices at an angle. So you can see that's a pretty efficient little tool. This tool is interesting too. This is what I assume to be the primary work surface right there. And look at how beautifully that fits in the hand, even in the palm. Every finger's got a spot to fit in. It's great. Or also, of course, this curve would be tooled to fit whatever size of a surface that it worked against. It's also very common for these animal processing wooden tools to have a pointed tip on them on the end. And I surmise that this is to scrape out marrow from, well, it doesn't need to be just a long bone, but it could be from anything. My dog already got the fat off of this bone. You see, I perfectly just gouge out all these. Now, if you're using the marrow tool, it's that tool fits the hand just as perfectly as the other tool. It's like a Swiss Army knife, except a Swiss Army knife isn't made to be comfortable. It's just made to have a lot of gizmos on it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and sometime in the near future I'm going to have something, another video about stone maps. Hope you watch that one too. Thank you, and bye.